It's yeah, yeah. You might find it less with singers. Um,
Yeah.
that's a very dramatic example, but it happens.
Dramatic.
Yeah. So that's one thing to consider too, because there was like what month ago. I think it was Sister Murphy. She was leading that choir song, right? See, so here's what that was, and this is why I'm like, this is why I want y'all to get like fundamentals, not just like what do I do in this situation. When she was singing, she stood right here. hmm But here's the thing, I'm next to the monitor, so this sound can't get over here. It's blowing over there. So then where was it coming from?
As we on stream.
It was right. It was coming through the house. She was like straddling the edge of this, which is fine, but it's just adjusting for that. The sound was literally getting picked up from over here because this is the only other spot where it's coming from, and it literally was hitting the side of this mic. And then she was turned up because she was singing quietly, which makes the mic more sensitive. So it's super sensitive. You got the sound bouncing over here, and then that's when you got that.
Taryn trying to set me up.
Yep.
Down
Yep.
here. Right here.
And there could have been a chance she was even getting some of the drums. So that's one of those, you would literally have to go off. If we couldn't get her to like literally just move to a different spot on the pulpit, you would have to EQ around that. Even if it was like, and I'm trying to make sure I describe my process as I did it. So if I see somebody standing here and they're getting feedback, my first thought process would be like, all right, let me turn their mic down. We might not hear them for a second, but I'm like, I'm gonna start there just to get the feedback out of the way. And then I'm looking at like, okay, we got this speaker, we got the drums. Chances are, if we turn the house down, everything's getting quieter. So I don't necessarily want to do that. What I could do is I could start by just turning the drums down a little bit, because that's the only other thing she's like close to, or the person is close to. Then I turn her mic back up, see if I'm still getting feedback. If I'm still getting feedback, then I go to the EQ and see if I can just get rid of wherever on the screen where it's like, you'll hear that, you'll see like that big jump on there. See if I can squash that with EQ. But, Darrell, tell me if I'm wrong. I feel like in an ideal sense, most of the time, you're not trying to redo your EQ every 2 seconds. You're trying to figure out, that's like your last resort. Her mic or the choir? Oh, well, sometimes feedback we get from this won't always show up on the stream.
At all.
Yeah. Well, it depends, because sometimes you will hear feedback on the stream. It depends. And that it's funny how that works, I guess, in a way, because that's kind of a gain thing too. It's weird. I don't really know what determines that, because the only way you get feedback is from what's coming into this mic. So ideally, I guess we should be hearing it on the stream more than we do, but that's the beauty of technology.
It's always one mess up.
But I guess go ahead. I guess I'm still trying to understand the question, because it's like that particular Sunday you were saying I couldn't hear her or I couldn't hear the choir members.
Huh?
Mm,
I was waving at the camera that you got me on.
mm. Yeah, I'd have to put myself back in that day, that situation, what was specifically going on. No, this is what we're here for. Mm. Nope. No. as long as uh, hold on, explain it a different way. Yeah. Or they're actually adjusting the house, because y'all have seen me do that. Y'all seen me have the iPad and adjust what's going on in here.
I don't touch nothing.
Yeah.
I don't
Can I
touch
see?
nothing.
Can I see one of those iPads staring?
Me personally, I don't touch nothing. Yeah, me personally, I ain't touching nothing. Da, da, da. Yeah, me personally, I don't touch nothing until it's time for me to touch something.
Yeah.
Officer,
So like right now, are y'all still on Sins on Fader? Or are you in the house? So right now, you should see what I'm moving the black mic up and down. I am intentionally messing with the house. But if you see that, like, say, and I guess that as far as the team, that's where y'all will have to have communication. Like, obviously, if it's not me or Darrell, but like, if you see somebody else, you back there running down, and somebody else is adjusting the house, just make sure you know who it is and why. You know, because it could be if somebody new is doing the stream or something, they might not be in the right place, and they could be trying to adjust the stream and they messing with the house. So it's just make sure everybody's clear.
I touch number 9 only.
Yeah. Yep. Like it is changing in here.
I touch number 9 only.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that
Right.
so
This is
so
what
that was
God
y'all.
wants.
So that was y'all that I seen that one time.
Say.
I seen that one time when I was doing the stream. I was like, I turned Greg down. Who turning him back up? I'm trying to balance it out.
But do you get what that sends on fader button does? Because that's not just for stream. If we ever decide to branch this out, do other stuff, it's just if you're trying to control something other than the house, other than these two monitors, use the sends on fader button.
Fader. Remember that fader.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
They can hear themselves. They just want to hear more.
And we did that based off of if you're sitting back there, right? Like your left, your right. Check 1 2 1 2. Check. I hear it coming out of this one. So that up back there, this should be. If this is my right, that's left for y'all, right? It says left. 1. Oh man, we need to put something. Cause how we gonna know the difference?
Left, right.
Oh, okay. I'll let y'all handle it. No, it's whatever, however
It's
y'all
like
want to
you
set up.
reading a
As
book
long as everybody
left to
knows.
right.
So okay, 1 2.
Left to right. Left, right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But hold up. But do you know why? If I'm standing over here, why would he turn them up in that one? Yep, because this one is angled this way.
Look at the girl. Look at you, girl.
Yep, there you go. Yep. Everything, I'm telling you, with speakers, it's all directional. Everything is directional. So since this one is tilted this way, anybody over here, that's their monitor, really. And this one's tilted this way, so. But this brings up another great one. So here's something that I find myself having to do with speakers a lot, and Bishop, because when he starts getting into his speaking, he kind of slowly rocks like this. But remember how we talked about, like, if you line up with one of these, if the mic lines up with one of these, you get feedback? So this is the easiest way to get feedback. It's like, I'm leaning towards this one. Now I'm leaning towards that one. There, you can find a sweet spot where I think probably even now, Bishop's mic is like, he's not turned up evenly on both of these. One's like louder than the other. And you can kind of just watch and listen. And if you notice you ain't getting no feedback, if he's like, I need more monitor, it's dealer's choice. Normally what I do is I turn up the one that's already up because I'm like, well, he's already leaning to that side and it's not getting feedback. So let's see if I can push it a little bit. Yeah. But you don't necessarily have to turn up both monitors all together. Sometimes that doing that mix, because honestly, there's no way as a human, I have no idea if I'm equally closer to this monitor than I am to that one. So you kind of just got to find it. Like, okay, I'm gonna make number one a little louder and number two a little softer. Oh, there's feedback. Let me switch them. Okay, that fixed it. Just because I'm not perfectly standing between these. When he gets going, he'll be like, he'll lean down like this, do that, move like this, like this. But yes, because if you notice, in relation to these house monitors, where am I standing? To these big ones. I'm behind them, really next to them. So I can hear how loud it is out here, but it is way different than if I literally just come over here, I hear that way more crisp than I do back here. So he relies on these two. Anybody up here, we rely on these. So if he's like, I can't hear myself, then you just focus it on monitors here. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Hits the wall and then comes back over here. But by then it's weaker too. So you're not even hearing it as strong as it's coming out. Like y'all hear me clear as day back there. I could literally stand like right here and it's crazy. Like I can barely hear this right now, being right next to it because I'm behind it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the funny thing about that is, I guess the only caveat we could say is when somebody comes down and they start working, because they ain't got no monitors now. So it is what it is at that point. Just make sure people can hear them from this, because assumedly they should be able to hear themselves too. Yeah. If they out here, they in no man's land. But okay, so let's run. You want to let them switch between it? So let's just say, well, you're already used to doing monitor V. So let's just say like I need more in the monitor. How'd you set it up from back there?
Test, test, test.
Check 1 2. So I'm the black mic. You got it.
Green. I'm green,
You got
mother.
it. All right. Yeah. Matter of fact, I'll make it a little harder. So let's say I'm Cola or whoever stands on this side. It's like I can't hear myself. So I need a little bit more monitor for me. Which monitor are you gonna turn up? Right. Yep. And then can you get to there from the board? Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check 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 check. Spring up a well in my soul. Spring up. I need to learn these words before tomorrow. I'm acting like I'm not singing. And make me whole, whole, whole. Spring up a well. Fill my soul. Everlasting light. I've got a river of life flowing out of me. Hmm. Yep. If you got 4 out of 5 people saying I can't hear, then you could probably start with just turning the overall monitors all the way up because that just means all of them are too low. But even with that, because we have instruments coming through here, it could just be the instruments are too loud in these. Oh, click track? Oh, amen. Not even keys? We ain't got keys or organ coming there? All right. I ain't mad. Yeah. I wonder though if that's gonna change now that we've turned it down. We don't have to adjust that now, but I'm just curious. I think that's because they don't want nothing obstructing there. They want to be able to hear themselves. That's fine with me. Like I said, as long as whatever works. Yes, yes. I need it, especially the wood floors up here. You can actually feel it in the ground. So I love having click track come through. So yeah, so in that regard, and I can hear it definitely got louder. So cool. Mm. It's almost like the board becomes the board for that specific thing. So if you select first what you actually want to edit, then hit sends on fader, and now the board is the board for that thing. So like if I just want to adjust the mix of this, I hit monitor one sends on fader. Now that board is only adjusting this, and then as soon as you hit sends on fader again, it's turned off, and you're adjusting the house again. So I guess that's one way to look at it. Like, just think first of like, well, what device am I actually trying to change? Find that, hit sends on fader, and you're good to go. Mm. Yep, from back there. Yep. No, no, no. But like, is it? But is it still up right now? Is the stream sends on fader still up? Okay. Right. So like, what you want to edit first, then sends it. So now if that's up, you should be able to see because now I got the stream up over here. You see that? Yep. We're both on the stream. We both have it set to stream, so that's what we're editing. I put it back where it was. Yeah. So
Yeah, my eyes was off though. So yeah. No.
so let's run some scenarios to see like because they really what I think what me and Darrell end up doing is like because of the knowledge we have of how the stuff is connected and what it does, that's how like when we run into a problem, we're just working that list of like, okay, I'm checking this first because this is what that does. I'm checking this because this is what that does. So let's say we're doing a sound check, and every time the drummer plays, you start hearing feedback. What would be the first thing you check? Yes. Yeah. So would where would you start with checking the drum mics? Like what would you be looking for? I guess I would start by turning the volume down. I will say this. Here's a good tell if gain is the problem. If the volume is barely up at all on anything and you get feedback, yeah, there's just too much gain. It just means because the drums actually is all run on mics. So yeah, it's really just more microphones over there. That's your biggest tell. If you look at the sliders for volume and they're almost at the top, then you know okay, it's probably just too much volume. But yeah, if it's like in the middle or lower than the middle, then you know yeah the gain on this thing is just cranked way too high. Let's say it's I want to use a scenario we actually have because I was gonna say like let's say somebody's playing the keyboard and all of a sudden you start hearing feedback. What would be your thought process there? Well, let's use that as an example. Somebody's playing the keyboard, which does not have any microphones associated with it, but we're doing a sound check. People are singing, and somebody's playing the keys, and every time the keys is played, you hear feedback. So let's say it's not in the monitors, because right now the way it's operating, they're not in the monitors.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think would be the issue there? No, no. So I'm just saying that you're trying to figure out what the actual problem is. What's the first thing you would think about? So like we're up here, we're singing a song. As soon as somebody starts playing the keys, which is not coming through here, Um, the volume of what? Yes, to start, and then so I'll give you the reasoning behind that, because it could end up being a thing where like you turn the volume down on the keys, but then they too weak. That could be a product of reflection. Remember how we said like the sound comes out of the speaker, it hits the wall. Literally, sound does not stop after its first hit. It's coming out of this, bouncing off that back wall, bouncing back over here, and then probably on its way to another spot. So what can happen sometimes with an instrument like the keyboard, which has no microphones associated to it, the sound could be coming out of there, bouncing off that back wall or side wall, and hitting one of our mics up here, and doing the thing to get feedback, where it's just looping and looping and looping.
Yeah,
So it's a very rare case, especially with this setup, at least the way this room is set up. But that's the kind of stuff you got to consider. If there's not a mic involved, that means it's got to be entering into one of our mics, or wherever else there's a mic, like a drum mic or an organ mic. So that's how you gauge that. So you're right. I would start with just like slightly turning the volume down, because then the sound might not have enough energy to even reach our mics anymore. But then if you're like, man, we ain't got enough keys, what I would do is you would try to find the mic that's getting the feedback and see if you can EQ a little bit out to so that it doesn't pick up the keys. Mm. Yep. Yeah. I will say though, at least at our church, 9 times out of 10, there's usually always one mic that's hot. Like there's somebody's mic is just too sensitive, and for some reason it's able to pick up like stuff that's bouncing around the room. Mm-hmm. Check, check, 1, 2. Check, 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 1, 2. Boom. Bow, 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 bow,
bottle.
bow. That's a dope. It's a dope Fred Hammond song. Sounds like Earth, Wind, and Fire, but it's cold, bro. I'm saying. Help me, sir. Mhm. Yep. Because back there is color coded, right? So like if I don't know if we can create some feedback again, but you will literally see one spike up and the bar will turn red. If it's red, even if you don't hear the feedback, no, we are just in that territory. Like it is liable to happen, or it's happening at a frequency that none of us can hear, but dogs can hear. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm trying to see if I can create a little feedback for her to see, but Black Mike. Check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Check, 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 check. Check, check, 1, 2, check, check, check. Or if you just want to turn the gain up on the black one, then we could watch it. Watch it rise. There we go. So check, check. So you see how there's that red is hopping up? So nah. Wait, if you want to see it, every time that happens, we should see like a spike happen somewhere. Check. Check 1, 2, check right there. So it's like high right there. Shit. Bounce, ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-da-doo, ba-doo, ba-doo. Yep. So,
My
go ahead.
ear.
I'll let you hold it so you ain't got to step close. But it's happening right about there. Every time you hear that sound, you'll see like a singular strand go up.
That red line.
Check. Well, it won't be red on the iPad, but you'll see like check 1, 2, check, 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 check. You see how it popped up towards the top? So that's where you know where to take something out.
You gotta take something out, mom.
Yeah, yeah. Different spot, yep.
I was just saying, it's an echo.
Yep. Yep.
Too loud.
So maybe now is a good time to have the EQ conversation then. Raise it up. Check one time. There's nothing like your presence. All I want is to be with you. There's nothing like. Taryn, can you see all what's happening on the iPad? Oh, yeah. Just so you know. Just so you know.
I can't do it no more.
Yeah.
Don't know.
You. You are Lord. Let me show you how much lower yours is compared to mine. Was it green?
Yeah. Terry, you don't know what that is. You don't know that song.
Yeah. Although technically, couldn't you do sins on fader off of the main left and right and it just hit mute? Is that it? Nah, never mind. Scratch that. Forget what I said. Yeah. It's talking about this. That's where we want to keep the speaker at, like where it says 0.
I was thinking of Pink Panther song.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yep. That's the mix.
You ready?
So maybe now is a good time to hit the EQ conversation then. Because now I think you got a good concept to gain. So really, this is all EQ is. EQ is just you messing with the gain in certain spots of the sound. That's why we talk about you got low, mid, high. It is literally you just adjusting the gain for any low sound that is coming in here or any mid-low sound that's coming in here. That's why we shape it. Because what can happen is you can have a person who, let me see, what's a good example? Okay, so like either like Jaden or even AP Walls, I notice this sometimes. She has a strong voice, but certain parts of her voice are not as strong as others. The high part of her voice is strong, but she doesn't have a lot of low. And when you're missing that low creates definition. Low helps you to hear consonants, like, like the, your C, D, T, all that, which when that's missing, it's hard for you to understand what the person is saying, or it just makes their voice sound faint. Lows also create kind of a warmth to the sound. So it's like if you got a really high, twangy voice and there's no lows whatsoever, you might have to give them some lows in order to help make their sound, their voice more defined in here. On the flip side of that, you could have somebody who, like Brother Greg, because he has a powerful voice, you kind of have to take gain away. But you don't want to just take the whole mic gain away because then you're taking away power from the mic. So that's why you take away like, okay, his lows are crazy strong. We need to bring them down so that the rest of it's more level. And the reason I bring this up, the reason I bring that up too is because I noticed, and I think this is just kind of what we've been used to with this board and the old board. I know it was always like telling y'all in order to not get feedback, like, okay, it's just take away this, take away that. There are moments where you need to add EQ. Like, you need to add gain to certain. So, like, when AP Walls is up, I'm finding the strongest part of her voice, and I usually give her some gain. It's usually, like, right around that mid-high. Because when I'm watching the screen, that's where it's the most active. Same thing with Jaden. She's got, like, a lighter voice. So sometimes you got to find a spot and, like, where she's most active and turn the gain up a little bit. And it doesn't end up leading to feedback. It just means that you can hear what she's doing specifically, like, more clearly, and it's more sharp. So gain isn't always just taking stuff away. Matter of fact, that sound boot camp that me and Little Marcus went to a couple years ago, they really said like they prefer putting everything back at 0 at the end of each service and like EQing per each service because like the condition of the room is different. And even like the changes you make to EQ are like minute, like really, really small. As I'm flipping through these now, and I know we typically got to do what we got to do just to get through, but for the most part, these are pretty subtle. I'm looking at like pastor's mic, the green mic, the blue mic. They got pretty subtle EQs, but then like black is really squashed, and I know that's the one I'm using now. And then orange. But again, we know why with orange. Because there's a lot of power coming through that mic. I don't know who used it as black. Is that Lady D? Okay, and see, Cola, she's got yeah, it makes sense. She's got a powerful voice across even like her mid-range and her highs. So that it makes sense. Yep. I know people have talked about that, like, because in a lot of churches, you do have, like, this is the lead mic, whoever's leading. It doesn't matter because each and every person has a different type of voice and a different strength. Like, even if you get a lead mic, you're going to be EQing it every single time it's passed around because each person has a different voice. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That just comes down to price point at that point. The more expensive mic. Mm-hmm. No, these are all the same. Yep, except the green mic, which is one of our old Sures. Although to be fair, the green mic it's Shure, so that's a quality brand. So it's not so much the mic, it's the person holding the mic. Because I could pop the. Let me turn on the orange. Okay, check 1 2. It right now, I sound about the same as when I had the other mic. Roughly, I don't know how it is for y'all, but at least in these monitors, I sound about the same. The EQ is different on these though. But I'm saying all that to say, I don't sound like 10 times more powerful just because I'm holding this mic, because it's my voice at the end of the day. So if Brother Greg, if he starts using a different color, it's just gonna be the same thing because he has a powerful voice, so we got to EQ to his voice. Check 1 2 1 2. Check check it out. Check it out. Check it out. Yeah. Dear Jesus, Son of the Living God, we extol you. Dear Jesus, oh, Jesus, Son of the Living God, you have my praise. You have my praise. Yeah. You don't want to take out everything of anything. Like now, I will say with some of the ladies, it might feel a little dramatic sometimes because there are some people, like, I keep thinking, like, either AP or Jaden, you will see nothing hopping up down there, like down by those lows. But that doesn't necessarily mean get rid of them either. Like, leave that space. Something is coming through, and it is still adding definition to their voice. I'm trying to think. Let me look at these. Right now, I don't think any of them have something added. But those two in particular, they're the ones I think of if I'm gonna add EQ, because I could add EQ to my voice right now without getting feedback. Because if I just look at so you see the monitor back there, you could really do it as a way of really sharpening everybody's sound too, because you can take the weakest parts of a person's voice and just give it a little accent, like add some gain to it. So right now, if you look at mine, I'm on the orange mic. Do you notice how there's like a little dip? This is the other thing too, and this is good to know. So we speak in hertz. That's basically, it's how you measure sound. You see that row of numbers underneath the chart that says like 200, 300, 400. You want to be familiar with those, like in the sense of like just knowing like, okay, I'm taking out or I'm adding something around this frequency. Because there's a couple things you can memorize like that help you. So if you look at around 200, do you notice how like there's a dip no matter what I do? Like it moves, but it's not going up higher or anything than anybody else's, than the rest of them. So let's see what happens if I actually just add a little gain, or if I get rid of that bubble number 1 in that spot. So I'm going to put it back. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. There's still a dip there. So now, let's see. My voice, I guess, is pretty even across the board. So let's look at where it says 800. You see the 800 hertz? I'm going to add something there. Let's just see what it sounds like. Because at this point, you know how to avoid feedback. Now it's just actually shaping a sound. Check 1, 2. Check, 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 check 1, 2. I'm going to make it a little wider. Check 1, 2. Check. Now I just gave myself more power, more definition, no feedback whatsoever. Now, whether it sounds good or not is a totally different, that's a subjective thing. But if I'm a person, and I am a guy with a weak voice, you want to find people with the weak voices, find where on the chart where their stuff is weak and give them a little something to help bring it out. Matter of fact, I don't know why. It might be because it's Brother Greg's mic. But even that dip, what do you think, Darrell? Right there around like in between 400 and 600, that's dramatic, right? That's a really big dip. I'm going to take it out. Check 1, 2, 1, 2. Seeing that's opening up like my whole voice. And then, we don't necessarily have to get into it today, but then from there, it's kind of ear training. Listening and being like, okay, does this sound muffled? Does this sound light? Does this sound like, how do you get a nice crisp sound? That really is just training your ears. Because if it were me, here's one rule of thumb that you definitely want to have, though, and this will save you a lot of feedback. So the low cut, which is the one all the way over to your left-hand side, and it's just like sloping down like this. Here, I'll move it so you can see it. That last one, you always want to have that, like, you go based off of the line, like that dotted line. You never want to have that below 100 with microphones. You never want it, because if you do, you will automatically, when music comes in and stuff, you will get feedback, because it's picking up the lows from everything, and then it's going to come into the mic and just feedback. I was told you keep it at like 110, 120. So let me see. So that's 112 right there. So that's, with a microphone, that is like one of those rules of thumb that'll just save you. Yep. Let me see, just for kicks. I'm going to... And so at least, like, if you're referring to stuff with me and Darrell, if you're running into a problem or something, or you're like texting us, you running somebody over, if we could, knowing those numbers, or at least using those numbers as a reference, if we're trying to figure it out based off of just our ears, you could be like, I got this at 300 hertz. I took something out at 300. We know just from doing this a while, like 300, all right, it's more on the low side. It's like, that's too low. Bump it up. Like, something like that. You know what I mean? As opposed to, now I will say this, and I'm going to say this in the comfortability of this house and amongst this group, and I don't even think I told you this. I love my father to death. He's always asking for lows. He never needs lows. I'm telling you right now, he never needs lows. Because his voice naturally has like so much warmth to it. When you add lows, it just makes it more and more boomy, and then you start to hear the feedback. Like, it's just that vibration of the bottom of his voice. And then he's still not getting what he wants. So just being honest. I know he was a sound man for years, but he almost never. Every time he asks for it, it's never the problem, or that's never why he's getting feedback, because he needs more lows. But again, gauge it by the situation, because there could come a day where he asks for it and it actually is he needs lows. All right. Any other outstanding questions? That's really like those basics will get you far. You want to just crank it up and let her hear what the difference is. I need the I need thee every hour. I need thee. Oh, bless me now, my Savior. We come to thee. Ah. Yep. Yep. Do we want to just rename them? Because they keep saying FX1, FX2. You want to just rename them real quick? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yep. Come home, come home, ye who are weary, please come home. They really are great for those ballads, like those slow or sermonic moments. Mm. Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Now I will say in recordings, really, almost every song you ever hear has reverb in it, even if it doesn't sound like it, because it does do something. Like if you just turn up a pitch, you might not even hear the difference, but it does add. It adds to the warmth and the way the whole sound fills up the room. So you don't necessarily just want it off, but yeah, you can overdo it, and because of the way it's pushing the sound out, like can you turn it back up again? Check 1 2 1 2. Give me even more. Check 1 2. So because you hear how like the sound is kind of like it's taking a while to disperse, you're starting to hear a little feedback in there, like little pinches. So you could be more susceptible to that too. So that might be something. If you hear a lot of reverb and you're starting to hear feedback, it's like, okay, turn the reverb down first before you even mess with any of the other stuff. Check 1 2. Yep. But you don't have to turn it all the way off. Mm. Check 1 2. Check. It's like different types of rooms. Yep. Which I do love those. I love them so much. Like earnestly, tenderly, Jesus is calling. Oh, sinner, oh, come home. Come home. Is there a delay on there? Do we have a delay? I love like an echo, like where like it literally takes the phrase and just like test. Oh yeah, I'm talking about like a full on. I'm sure it's in there. It's somewhere, but that goes back to that whole like mixing throughout a service. Like if there's a moment where somebody's doing a sermonic thing and they're like leaving stuff open, that could be a really cool moment to be like, oh yeah, let's slide some reverb in here. It's like creating moments. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna find this tape delay. Check, 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 check. Nope. Check, check, check. Nope. Check. Yeah, it's probably a different effect. We'd have to like assign to one of these. I love that though. Yeah, and you can creep into it too, because it's so gradual. Like if somebody's like singing, it's like you could just slightly slide it up until you get I need thee, oh I need thee, and it's like okay, there it is. I'm just gonna leave it there. Every hour, a little too much, just slide it down a little. I need thee, oh bless me now. And say, it's still in there. This is not like in your face. Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, any other outstanding anything you're curious about, or so do you feel like at least as far as the function of all this stuff, like what like we use gain for this, we use volume for that. I'd say majority of the job is probably problem solving. I'm trying to think like in what situation is this ever like any church service I've ever been to? There's always something. It's like, oh, what's this? Oh, that's new. Oh, that didn't happen last week. Like what? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Check, check, 1 2 1 2 check, 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 1 2. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. Right. How do you work your way to that conclusion? Because it's like you got to look at like everything that's in play. You got the board, you've got the instrument or the mic, and then you've got how is it getting to the board. You got like those bare minimum those three elements. So those are the three things you check. So like if he's saying if you're not getting a signal at all from the orange mic, but you see somebody speaking in the orange mic, the first thing you could check is the device. Do they have it unmuted? You know what I mean? Is it even on? Is the green light on showing that they have the mic actually on? If that's working and you still don't see nothing, then it's probably a connectivity issue. And just so y'all know how it is, like at least as far as the mics go, those packs right in front of you on the wall, those are all the receivers for our microphones, for the wireless microphones. Now anything with an instrument or the drum mics, they're all plugged into this box in the back. And I will say, I don't know why they did this. Maybe it's handy for somebody. On this box back here, there's a light on the front. It's the only button on the front. It's this orange light, and it is a mute all button. Nobody should be touching it. However, if you find for some reason absolutely nothing is coming through and everything is turned on and all this is, come and check and see if this button's been pushed. It's literally the only button in the front. And I don't know, like, even, you see we got to lean over a little bit even to plug the stuff in. It could be that it honestly just gets pushed. You got this foam wall right here. If that gets pushed into it, you just never know. We have not ran into that issue, but it's something to look at. If you find that it's not that button, it could literally be that a cable just went bad. Because all those boxes, they're plugged into the back of the board by cables. Everything we got over here is plugged in by cable. It could really just be we got to replace a cable. Yep. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. Mm. So that being said, y'all got like 2 seconds to talk about stream. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, I should have brought it with me. But yeah. So what's the easiest way to? So really, what I did was the reason we have two bass channels is because speaking of EQ, I literally have my one guitar going into both of those channels. On one of them, I've EQ'd it where literally everything is gone except the lows. On the other one, everything is gone except the highs. And that is to help because bass is such a low sounding instrument. If you just try to turn it up and down by itself, it could just be muddy all the time. So the reason behind that was for more control on the mix. So if I was doing it, what I would do is you have the bass low in there. It's always present. You never want it off because it is a low. It's the low sounding instrument. But the bass high is the one where if you're like, man, I can't really hear what Mel is doing on the bass. I hear it making sound, but you can't really hear like the individual notes or the licks or whatever. You can use the bass high and turn that up, and in turn, you will just get more of the definition of what I'm actually doing with my fingers instead of just more noise. That is why that's set up the way it is. And same for the stream too, because with the stream, the way sound comes out of devices, it only can really amplify so much. So like you want both the bass low and bass high in there, but if you're like, man, I know he's there, but I can't really tell what he's doing, you can turn up just the bass high a little bit, and you'll hear the definition of each note I'm playing. So I don't think there'll ever really be a situation where you want them both up at the same level. Hmm. Yeah, and it even that like the whole like just adjusting the bass high, it goes back to taste and how it actually sounds. So part of that is also just developing your ears. Is really being a producer, a music producer. Because like I noticed with Cam, Austin Blackman, they keep his low frequencies up. Like you can just make out what notes he's playing. Like so it's weird. It's down to taste. Me personally, I know there's a sweet spot I would like to hear, but I can't mix and play at the same time. So it's. But I'll let you know if it's like, yeah, this is like just a bunch of bass high and super twangy. Or it's kind of goes back to voices. It's like you need the bottom for definition. You need the bottom for warmth. You need the top for definition. So, yeah. Trying to think. Well, I really didn't play much at all last Sunday, but maybe, like I said, even if y'all got like at least till 12, could we talk stream just a little bit, just for levels?
Worship with us. Hey, he's been too good. Whoa, one more time. Oh, say you can't.
You can't
God won't make a way.
God won't make a way.
You can't.
You can't
God won't see me through.
God won't see me through.
I know he can.
I know he can.
I know he